everybody, I hope that you're all doing well. I'm using the Golden Art Nouveau for this tarot reading. In the pre-shuffle, I was seeing Emperor and I was also seeing the Moon, which can indicate that there can be some uncharted territory that you are getting into. We're starting off with the Star here, which is connected with Aquarius. Seeing Three of Swords on the bottom of the deck, there can be some healing and there can be some resolving that's happening. This can also be giving you new perspective right now. Getting something about the hard things that have been asked of you. All right. What it looks like is happening right now is that it's a period where you can be thinking about kind of where you're going and what you're doing next. We have the Star, we have Seven of Pentacles, we have the World, and we also have the Magician here. So with this energy, it can be a time when you're evaluating what you feel like is really your path, where you really want to be going, what you're doing, and thinking about that, just so you're not doing something like more mindlessly and then you end up somewhere and you're like, how did I get here? This can be a time when there may be potentially like a big commitment that's going to be made. Having the World and then also having the Magician next to it, it can be that whatever you're signing on for next, there's going to be a commitment. It's going to be like a longer track that you'll be on. And you can be very serious about it. So it feels like it's important right now to be deliberate about this, because it feels like whatever is going to be happening after this point, you may get kind of locked in with Saturn and the Magician, where it's like whatever energy you're coming at this with, that's what you're going to be carrying out for a while. So you just want to be absolutely sure about this and make sure that you're really going in the right direction here, which can take some time to check in if you don't feel clear on that immediately. So there can be questions about like, what do I want for myself? What do I dream of? What do I hope for? Where would I like to go? Even what is possible for me? What am I capable of? How many of these things can I even be like taking on in a practical way? That can be something too. It can be a moment as well where you check in and you're like, am I doing the things that I want to be doing? Am I like on a track that is supportive of that? Are there maybe some things that I want to exclude from where I'm going? Are there maybe some things that I want to include as far as where I'm going? So yeah, but it's kind of like, it's like when the timer goes off, everything is going to get locked in at that point. We're not at that point yet, but we're getting closer to that point coming up, and you just want to make sure that you have things where you need them to be, where you want them to be, in order to like set yourself up for that, because you're going to get locked into whatever this is. So it looks like there's some cycle of healing that you're completing. I'm also hearing closure very strongly. Maybe there's also something too where you feel like you can't totally move forward until there's something that's more so processed. It can be like, maybe I can't have a particular type of successful relationship until I deal with this thing here. because we have Magician, but then we have Five of Cups connected with it. And Magician is really when you have the world in your hands and you get to decide what you want to be creating, and you can do that consciously, you can do that unconsciously. But having Five of Cups can be like when we still can be having this mentality because of something that we've been going through recently, where it can be like, what's really the point of this? Or I still didn't accept that that thing happened, or like I'm still in the middle of processing this thing right now, so it's hard for me to look forward. So now can be this time where there are things that are happening and energy that's culminating and stuff that you can be coming to terms with, so you can move forward from this point, maybe being more clear within the energy. Right now you may not feel like that. You can feel distracted by something that you're dealing with, and you cannot feel clear-headed, and that can also be really impacting your perspective right now. I think having themes of Saturn come up, there can be themes having to do with parents that come up when we have this, or authority figures when we have this. So it can be about reconciling things with that. There can be themes about understanding things on the emotional front and like going through lessons having to do with that and our understanding. There can also be stuff about having accurate perspectives of things, realistic expectations of things too, where when Saturn comes through, it can say like, if you're not calculating things correctly, you're going to have to face the disappointment of that. And so it brings us into a space where we do want to calculate more correctly, because we don't want to feel the pain of those miscalculations anymore, even if it can feel sad sometimes, because it's like, well, this is what I was really hoping for, this is what I imagined. But Saturn can be coming through and saying, this is the reality though of the situation, and we need to be working with that. Otherwise you have no foothold within 3D. You know, it can just crumble very easily. Saturn doesn't want things to crumble for you easily. It wants that strong foundation there. So it can be anywhere where the way that you're thinking or the way that you're maneuvering, it's not realistic, or it doesn't allow for a solid foundation. These are things that can be getting checked right now. And it can be sad when this happens, because it can be a time when we feel like our fantasies get dashed. Sometimes that can be the way that it goes, but it helps us be better at discerning, moving forward, what's actually going to work for what we want. It's the theme of like, you want to build a solid house and you keep getting a material that's cotton balls, and Saturn is like, you're going to be better off building with bricks here. And then we try to build with the cotton balls anyway, and it gets soaked and blown away, and then it just turns to mush, and we don't have anything there anymore. And Saturn's like, I told you had to build with something stronger then, you know, like this is going to keep happening until you understand that if you want a particular thing, you need to build with that particular thing. So it can be a theme that's been coming up right now, where you can be looking at things where you've been doing that, choices, relationship decisions that have been being made, things that you're pursuing, if that's really adding up. And so now can be a time when, if you have been trying to build something, not using the right material, having Five of Cups can be the time when we become aware of that, where we realize, I actually haven't been building with the right material. And even though it can be a sad moment when we see there's so much to be learned from that, alluding to how to build correctly for what you want. That's the thing too. It's not like Saturn is saying, you need to build this structure for me. Saturn is saying, if you want this structure, I'm just showing you how to build it the right way. That's it. So it's like, it's something that you want. It's showing you how to actually do what you want, and what also is not going to manufacture what you want. So it's all about what you want at the end of the day. It's just teaching you how to do it the right way. It's kind of like if you're the architect for something and you're using some incorrect math here and being like, yeah, that's not going to work. It's like the building keeps collapsing because you're not using the right math. You have to use the math that like correlates to 3D. So it's just helping you get in that right like frame of understanding to be able to make concrete and solid what you are wanting to build as far as an experience, what you are creating. That's the effect that we get when Saturn and Mercury are there. So even though it can be annoying because it's like, I wanted to make this very solid structure out of cotton balls, Saturn is like, that's not how it works within 3D. You're going to have to use something else. But then when you figure out the recipe for that, you end up building exactly what you wanted to build. And then there's the joy within that. So it can be, you know, Saturn is connected with like laws and governing systems. So it's about the laws partly within 3D, especially having Jupiter here too, the laws within 3D and telling you like these are the parameters for you to create what you want to create. So as the magician, this is like what you have in mind as far as what you want to be creating. And this is something about like healing your perspective so that you can actually do that. And anywhere where you're like, I've been building and this thing like isn't falling into place and this is really something that I want to experience, it's correcting you and telling you the right way to do that. Right way meaning a way that you'll effectively be able to accomplish that thing. But yeah, sometimes it can be upsetting because it's like, I wanted to build it in a different way, and then the reality sets in that if you want to build that particular thing, you're going to have to do it aligned with this way. Otherwise, it's going to keep crumbling and you'll keep having that experience. Because there are rules here, you know, to the way that things work. You know, like if you want to paint with blue paint, you can't just keep picking out red and then being upset that there's red on the canvas. You know, it's like, it's one of those situations where once you look at it, you'll be like, oh, like what was I doing picking out the red when I wanted blue on here? It's like not going to make sense, and you'll be like, I see what I wasn't seeing before. But yeah, at this point, it can be a moment when you see that you've been picking red out again and again. And yeah, it can be indicating to you, and you can be like, I invested, I bought all of this red paint, and it's like, well, it doesn't really matter now, you know, if you want to make something that's blue, you're gonna have to get the blue paint for it. So even though it can be a moment when you're like, oh, I feel so bothered by this, it's still progress because you're like that much closer to doing what you're really trying to do here. But yeah, it can be a moment where it can feel sad because it's like the reality is you're not going to be able to paint something blue with the red paint. And that's where like Saturn and Five of Cups can come in, where it's like, man, I wanted to paint something blue with the red paint. So it's kind of this like, you have to mature, you have to become more aware and awake, but it's helping you do what you wanted to do all along. And that's your own agenda. You know, it's helping you with your own agenda. We have strong Aquarius energy here within the reading, and we also have Saturn and we have Mercury. This is not meant to discourage you. This is meant for you to look at it and say, I'm not much closer, and I know better what to do moving forward, so that basically like the faulty logic that was being used, or like the thinking that red is blue, that's being corrected so you can do what you're trying to do here. That's really it as far as what's going on within the energy. All right. We are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting and tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.